All right, what's up, everybody? We're back for another Juice to Loose podcast, and yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So let's just start with Clocked It. I'm gonna put you on the spot. He's
Son of
got
a
Labo.
bitch.
He's been putting kits together. He's got, you know, daughters from the age of what, 3 to 9.
That's right.
So
Got five kids to feed, man.
he's got some impressions from his perspective, and obviously the reactions from his daughters. So why don't you go ahead and talk about Labo?
Ah, goddamn, man. Where do I start? Fuck. Um, yeah. So I, t I've been tweeting quite a bit about Labo because um, yeah, I'm quite surprised not as many people are talking about it, but I think there's reasons for that, which we might be able to get into later. But overall, with the variety kit, which is I bought, I didn't get the robot kit, just a variety kit. Um, I'm really impressed. I think it's
All right,
very
I'm back.
magical.
Tracy.
The kids are absolutely loving it, and I've been just enjoying watching their faces as they just discover things. I did tweet before that it possibly has the best tutorial I think in any video game ever because it's so uh detailed, it's so meticulous. Every single step that you need to go through, I honestly don't know how anyone could mess it up. Just follow your instructions. It's really simple to follow, but it's also I'm quite surprised at um how many parts there are to making some of the contraptions. I mean, you start off with little RC cars; they take 2 minutes to put together.
Mm-hmm.
But like the fishing rod, we put the fishing rod together. We put what else is it? There's the motorbike. We put the motorbike handles together, and we put the house together, and the only thing we haven't done is the piano, which we're saving for this weekend, because I tell you what, it took us almost 2 days to just do that. And at the end of the day, you can't sit down and just do Labo all day, every freaking day. You go nuts. It reminds me of Christmas, when kind of like when Christmas happens, and you're opening all the presents for the kids, and you're like, yeah, this is great, I love it. They're like, yeah, now can you help me put together this Lego castle of Ministry of Police? I'm like, oh God, please no. So you got to put it all together, and it takes time. It really does take time. But I found that they had the patience for it. They really had the patience for it, and that was mostly because they enjoyed um, flicking through the instructions, whether they're swiping on the Switch's touchscreen, or using the Joy Cons to move the tutorial along. So they were constantly engaged, not just in the making of it, but also the instructions. Whereas I feel like if they were just looking at it as like a little instruction manual, they would get bored. But the fact that they're almost playing a video game as well, they were really interested in it. But quickly jumping onto the actual applications themselves. I mean, the RC cars, they're quite as simple as they come. They were having fun racing them because you can do two players by switching the single switch screen around, and they can hold both sides of it and have two-player controls that way, which they found quite fun. Try to play bumper cars with each other. Um, and you can vary the HD rumble on that as well, which is quite interesting. Where it really got interesting was with the house, the motorbike, and the fishing rod. And like I said, I feel like now motion controls. After playing that fishing rod game, we've made it with motion controls. They were just one on one, just so precise. I could literally just move the rod just slightly, and then it would move on screen just perfectly. No matter how quickly you done it, how slow you done it, it just replicated your movements perfectly. And with the way that the fishing rod works, because it's got like elastic bands inside it as well, when you when you lifted up the rod with a string, the elastic bands almost pull it back down, so you do have like some resistance with it, which I thought was really cool. And then the HD Rumble is, you know, I, I actually think this is the best. Labo is showing off the best HD Rumble that we've seen in all his applications. It's absolutely incredible. But yeah, they've been loving it, and I could go into it a lot more. Do I feel like it's got staying power? For the moment, yes, I feel like the novelty of the games themselves might wear off for them. Almost like I felt like Wii Sports wore off for them, not for me. I played Wii Sports Resort so much, but for them after they've had a few sword fights and stuff, they kind of move on. But the difference with Labo, especially with the Labo garage and stuff, my daughter just jumped onto that, and she's like, "Daddy, watch this." And I mentioned this as well, where I didn't realize that the Switch itself, now the console with all the Joy-Cons attached, um, it's got motion in it. It's got, I believe it's been confirmed to have gyro inside the Switch itself, which I didn't know. Because what she was doing, she had the Joy-Cons on the floor, and when she was tilting the Switch console without the Joy-Cons attached, they were on the floor. When she was tilting it up and down, the Joy-Cons were vibrating. I was like, how the hell is she doing that? It makes no sense in my head. It's crazy. And not only that, she would tilt it, ever so slightly, and that would affect the vibration, how much the Joy-Cons vibrated. It was that felt like magic. That really did feel like magic. And her eyes lit up. She's like, this is crazy. And she's doing programming on there as if it was second nature to her. I mean, kids these days, they do programming just standard in school, just basic programming. I went to college to do that stuff. I could barely get a program to make a light go off and a sound go. And here's her just casually messing around doing different varying degrees of HD rumble and motion controls with the Switch. And my mind was just blown. But I had a quick go on some stuff. The motorbike game I found quite addictive. It's almost like like with Nintendo Land, when you got these mini games, they start off piss easy 1st of all. And then you get to the next level, you're like, holy shit, man, this is fucking rock. And you're trying and it's like it's kicking your ass. But it's got like a different tournaments on there. You can create your own maps, as you know. It's got probably more party games on there than Mario Kart 8 in terms of like missions you can do. You can drive around the arenas, collect balloons around, and you got bots who are also trying to get the balloons and stuff like that. That had a quick blast on. That was actually quite good because the maps are quite varied. But yeah, I mean, I think we have to remember this is for kids, and I don't, as people like us, I can't recommend for us to go out and buy Nintendo Labo and expect it to have staying power. I think you'd have fun with it for the first few hours of stuff, but then you would put it down. But when you do it with the kids and you help them build it, you play the games with them, and you see them discovering the stuff, and then they'll show you stuff. That's where it all comes in, and that's what it was for at the end of the day. So I think it's definitely working, and I do hope Nintendo keeps supporting it. And there was one thing I was sorry, I'm waffling on here. I know about Labo and everyone's quiet, but I'll just finish up here. There was one thing I was slightly upset about, but this could just be my fault. I thought that when you bought the Labo game, on that cartridge, I thought it was all on there, including the robot game, except that you just wouldn't have the robot kit to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not. They're two different games. So I mean, I can't see myself buying those two different games, especially just the robot one, which I think will tire much quicker.
Yeah, because you got to switch the cartridges out.
You have to switch cartridges and then just play that one robot game, which, like I said, might be almost like Star Fox Guard, where you'll have a quick blast and it's fun, but then you kind of won't come back to it because something else.
What else would they do though? Because they're selling the kits separately. You can't just get you. Would it'd be worse just to have both kits come with the exact same games?
Yeah, I can understand why they've done it. I was, I don't know what they can do. I don't know if they can maybe allow you to download the robot one for cheaper, but then, like you said, they're selling that separately for the same price as a variety kit. So, yeah, like I said, I think that was mostly my fault because for some reason in my head I thought the software was all going to be on there, but you would just be restricted because you don't have all the kits for it. But obviously not. But apart
I
from
was
that,
expecting those to come separate, though. Honestly, I didn't expect them both.
No,
to
I
be
mean,
one.
like I'm sure they explained this properly. Like I said, I think this was just me. I don't think I looked into it as much. So, yeah. But I mean, aside from that, seeing there, seen their expressions. I mean, if you have kids yourselves, you'll understand some of the delights when you see them discover things and make stuff. And my daughter went full on into coloring in all of the. I should do a video on this. The reality of making Labo with children, and it's not like the happy Nintendo adverts that you see. You know, with all the happy parents are just like, yeah, you know, let's make this. Oh, this is amazing, child. You're like, no. In reality, you're like, no, don't bend it like that. You got to take your time. Do this and that. And I turned my back for 5 minutes, and my daughter was. This is how OCD I realized I am. My daughter was cutting up the main Labo box itself, that everything that it came in. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm gonna glue these on the front. I was like, no, don't do that. Daddy wants to keep the box. And I was like, why do you want to keep the box for? Why do I want to keep the boxes? You're missing the point, Daddy. You're missing the point. You know, it's art and craft. They're meant to be used in their imagination. I got to let this one go, and I just had to let it go because it was too late. She had chopped it up. So yeah, I went to bed crying out like.
Well, look, scroll up in the live chat. Some Twitter posts of people customizing some stuff, and it looks pretty fucking awesome.
But so I was wondering, because you played it now, because when I always saw all the Labo stuff, my first thought was, damn, I want them to release that motorbike separately, the motorbike game. Is there enough content in it that they would be able to have released it as a separate game? Is it like for $20 or something?
I feel like it would be as if they released Mario Kart 8's battle mode by itself.
Okay.
You'd have to actually talk. Would you buy that just by itself?
Interesting. Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna have updates to the actual software to maybe expand on it, or is it just like this is what you're getting? Like it'll never expand unless you buy a different kit.
This is where I missed Miiverse because. And just that general community, because you know, it's almost like the Mario Maker. You can customize your own levels, do your own patterns and stuff, and all this. You know, that's the heart of Labo. And the only way to share this now is on social media. But if you had that platform to share track designs from different people on this motorbike game, different codes that people have done for you to play it, like we've seen on Twitter, as we mentioned, when people doing the light effects and stuff like that. You know, if there was a community built in for this, like Miiverse was, I think then it would have even more legs. And as soon as I started playing that motorbike game, collected the balloons and stuff, I was like, yeah, this is great having bots, you know, but it'd be awesome as well to be online. And I feel like then there would be more to it as well. So it's kind of like a Wii Sports, like I said, Wii Sports Resort. You know, you have to get together, you have to play it. But then later on, you kind of, if you're not in the right mood for it, you're just not going to pick up and play it, if you know what I mean. But that's coming from me as an adult. But as a kid at the moment, they're all over it. It'll just be, I'm just interested to see how long it lasts. So yeah.
All right. Anybody have any questions before we move on?
No, forget that.
I would like to know why YouTube keep taking my subscribers away. No.
I'm surprised.
Hey, listen, that's not the time for this, T.
I'm really surprised, T. You haven't got Labo yet.
Yeah, it's just it's a timing thing. I want to be able to like do it with my kids. So, and we've just been really busy these last few weekends, and hopefully by next weekend we'll have it.
I mean, to me, like I think Labo's pretty fucking cool looking, but like, you know, I kind of need a kid.
Wow. Well, I think you need to do something first before you.
Yeah, I know. That's why. So
I will.
Just hit me up, people.
Wow! Don't do
Oh
that.
goodness.
Oh, wow.
I will say,
He's drunk, y'all. Don't pay me any attention.
the day after Labo came out, I went to the store and they had 5 variety kits and 4 robot kits, 5 variety kits. I went back a week and a day later and they had the exact same number. So I kind of thinking it's not flying off the shelves.
No, like Japan sales was they only sold 30% of their shipment.
Really?
So,
I mean,
in Japan anyway.
This could be something that doesn't take off like we kind of thought, but
we have to look at it as well as being a.
But it outsold God of War.
in Japan.
This is a different demographic of game. You know, it is literally, like I said, it's aimed at children, and you know we have to remember that now. I think it's going to be a slow burner. I think it will do well over time, but Nintendo need to keep on top of it. You know, so I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. Yeah, that's going to be the biggest challenge.
We need some more paper in the hands.
And if they're going to try to do ones that are skewed more towards teens or older audience, then you can't have these shallow games without online. Like that motorcycle game. Like if that had a little more, the game itself had a little more depth and online against other players, like that would be something like maybe I'll pick that up, because it seems like the motion control, everything works so well. If they just put a little more
really well
in the game. Yeah. So I mean, you could even apply that to like Mario Kart or something. So that would help. I mean, patch that in so people could play the game using that setup. So especially on the motorcycles.
Exactly. Yep, I agree.
All right, but we'll see. Like the garage stuff, I haven't really seen many new posts in a while, but there's a couple I feel are faked where it's like, there's one someone created where it like pulled up a door in the cardboard. Like there's nothing on the Switch or Joy-Cons that would activate anything to lift up a little door. So I think people are faking it
crazy
with strings and stuff, just trying to make videos that people that get because there's just no way, there's nothing that could, unless the Joy-Cons vibrated into a switch, but that or not like the system switch, but an actual electrical switch. But it's like, no, that's not part of Labo. So, but we'll see. Whoever it was last week that was shitting on it, saying it's going to be over quickly. Maybe, I mean, that might be right, or maybe it does pick up, but definitely isn't flying off the shelves in my town. So the next thing I want to talk about is I got Wolfenstein: The New Order on Friday. I mentioned it in my Juice Opinions. I'd started it, and I want to talk about this because I want to give some people some impressions of the game who are maybe thinking of picking up Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch, and then we'll talk about the physical version needing a download. So I kind of lead into that. But, coming off of Doom, that's why I was pretty excited for Wolfenstein 2. It's not the same. It's not id Software. I forget the name of the team that made Wolfenstein. I didn't know Bethesda had so many different developers. So my first 30 minutes of the game is straight up Call of Duty 2, like brushing the beach, cinematic, cuts, constantly cutting to things happening, like an action movie. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is not what I was expecting. But that's like the opening before you even get the title screen. So it's like, it was kind of misleading. I don't know if they just wanted something exciting to get you in. So far, everything since then, the closest I could compare it to would be BioShock Infinite. For anyone that's played BioShock Infinite, not so much the first two, but specifically Infinite.
Yep.
You have like the controls and mechanics of a Call of Duty game. If you, in BioShock, you had to change the controls to that type of control scheme, but it's got story stuff, and it just plays to me. If it plays, it's kind of a linear thing, but you can kind of go around and take out dudes, guns blazing, or there's stealth element. So if you enjoyed BioShock Infinite's gameplay, it feels like the same studio made.
You talking about the first one?
What? Wolfenstein: The New Order.
The new one, first one of the new ones, I should say.
Yeah, I don't know what
first one was.
What about Return to Castle Wolfenstein? I don't know if that was.
That would be considered the last. What do you call it? Reboot. Yeah. So
this is obviously
Xbox One, PS4 era.
It actually is a PS3 era game, which I didn't know. I bought it not even knowing that, and I knew within 10 seconds when I saw the game. It's like, oh, this is last gen. So I mean, it's clean looking.
I don't remember. I mean, I bought it a while ago. Had it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, just to give an example. Went through some stuff with the main character. He bonds with a nurse who helped him, and like the Nazis won the war. It's been like 14 years since the war started, and so he's like trying to go rescue or try to find out who's still alive from his side, and they're like a bunch of checkpoints on the road. So like you get out of the car and you go up, and you got to clear the area. And first time I got seen right away, and it was like big shootout, a bunch of guards come. But the second time, which I saved, I'll probably upload that next couple days or so. I went through and I just stealth killed everybody. You get a silenced pistol, you have the hatchet looking thing, and it was actually really fun. And then at the end of that was like a mini boss fight with some 2 giant mechs. It's almost like they're animals, the way they behave, but you take out these 2 giant mechs, and then it goes to the cutscene, or you go back to the car, and then they drive through, and you get a little dialogue while you're driving up, and then you get to the next checkpoint. I'm sure the whole game isn't like that, but it's just it's like gameplay, and then it doesn't go to a cutscene, but when you're in the car driving and you're still from the player's perspective, then they're talking back and forth, and then you get back out, and then you're just yourself, shooting and stealth killing people again. So it's a mix, and like I said, BioShock Infinite is the perfect comparison, I think, to the play style. So for me, coming off of Doom, which I ended up playing Doom more this weekend than I played Wolfenstein, because Doom just, to me, is like, it's just that good. And so to come off of, my expectations were, this is Bethesda. I'm hoping, I didn't know it wasn't id Software, so I'm hoping it's gonna be more like Doom than other first person shooters, and it isn't. So I rewatched some gameplay of Wolfenstein 2, and I'm like, yeah, they're definitely gonna be, it's not gonna be that Doom experience. And so I'm gonna definitely want to keep playing. At this point, I don't have an opinion one way or the other. It's fun while I'm playing it, but it's not calling my name. Like, oh, I didn't play it at all yesterday. So it's definitely decreased my interest in Wolfenstein 2. But the interesting thing, and someone might throw out the word fanboy here, but it's just a last generation game, even in 1080p 60 frames per second. You still can, I immediately could tell it was a PS3 generation game. I've been so spoiled by these last couple of years, whether it's PS4 or the Switch now, is when you see a game, when you go back and like you don't have that more realistic lighting, and like, to me, lighting adds more to like a game than like realistic skin texture or anything. And it definitely seems like more of a stale, like static kind of world you're in. So I would honestly, Wolfenstein 1 or New Order on the PS4, to me, looks less impressive than Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch, judging it from just the YouTube videos of people playing direct feed. So even though Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch runs at a way lower resolution and half the frame rate, you still, just the improvements in everything else, like the polygon counts, the lighting, and everything else, like, truly looks like a more visually impressive game, and a more modern game than going back, taking a 7th gen game and just giving it 1080p. And so I thought that was kind of interesting, because first of all, I thought it was a PS4 game when I bought it. It's only $15, so it's not a big deal, but I was kind of shocked. I didn't know the game was that old. And it's just interesting to see, the what a 7th gen game up converted versus a current gen game on Switch. So I would definitely say Wolfenstein 2 on Switch looks better. So with that, let's get into this this ugly banner that's going to be on the box art. What does it say? May require SD card download. Yeah. Download required, or may require an SD card, because it's probably not if you judge by the eShop, the game's listed at 13.7 gigabytes on the eShop right now. So you're thinking if it's an 8 gig cart, then that's 5.7 gigs. You'll probably 6 gigs you'll have to download. So you don't. It's not. So I mean, that just means your Switch can handle it if unless you have a bunch of games on there. But you don't have to have an SD card. Unlike NBA and Resident Evil, where you actually had to have an SD card because they just won't fit on the Switch at all. So, thoughts, reactions. T, I'll start with you. I know you made a point, talking about how ugly that banner is. You love, having physical versions with your most recent video. How do you feel about that box art having that big old ugly white banner going across the top?
Looks like shit. I mean, obviously I have NBA 2K18. And for me, like, sports games are different because I'm not going to go back to that game once I move on to whatever NBA game I'm playing. So it's different for me because, you don't go back to sports games usually unless there was something really groundbreaking in it that you keep playing it. But yeah, it sucks. And I don't understand it. Like, I'm trying to play devil's advocate. Like, maybe it has to do with how the game runs. Because, we had, even on Wii U, you had, what was it, Xenoblade Chronicles that you had to download? Or you didn't have to, but you download part
you're
of the
talking
game.
about X, yeah.
Yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles X, sorry.
Yeah, it helped you run the game better.
It helped the game run better, right?
But you didn't have to do it.
No, you didn't have to do it. So I don't know if it's one of those things where it's just like, all right, this game's gonna run like ass unless we have people download 5 gigs of it.
But that don't make sense because the carts read, almost as fast, unless because if it's mandatory, then that tells me the game can't run without running off of 2 sources. But then how does it run digital only?
I'm just throwing stuff out there. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how fast the cart can read because,
Well, if you go digital only, like the load times versus digital or the internal memory is a little bit faster, but an SD card is about the same as the game card.
I mean, you would think so. Like, I'm still surprised that games that are on cards have load times. Like, to me, I thought that was that's what carts eliminate. But I understand games are a lot bigger now. There's a lot more stuff that's loading. And so I'm still surprised that games on a hard disk, on a cartridge or whatever, have like load times that are similar to like discs. Like if you look at
the Rayman Legends on Switch, the load times are like 3 times longer than on Wii U off a disc.
It doesn't make any sense. Like,
so it has something to do with how the game is.
It's Ubisoft optimization for you.
Yeah, that's just poor optimization.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how Ubisoft gets down. Just ask the Ubisoft PC gamers how Ubisoft rolls when it comes to optimization.
Because we know Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze loads faster.
Right. So you have that situation where it's the opposite. So we'll talk about that game too in a minute because that pissed me off.
I'm sorry, man. I take it back.
Saga.
But yeah, I just don't understand it. Like, it's cheap.
Damn monkey.
I thought this was it the 8 gig or the 16 that was comparable to the discs.
I thought it was 8.
So it was 8 gig.
Probably
right?
8.
So take the L. Take the cost. I mean,
no.
Nintendo has to take that.
You can't make me.
Nintendo needs to take that cost. Obviously, they're greedy as hell right now.
Yeah, I think that's Kimishima, man. Like I said in my juice opinions, like just the price of the extra dock, the Joy-Cons, the Pro Controller, everything's higher than we've ever seen Nintendo ask for stuff. And I think that was the Kimishima effect.
There's some greedy shit going on.
Glad we're getting him out of there.
So the one thing we don't know, and it's hard to really comment on this stuff without knowing the facts, because of the Switch sales, is Nintendo getting even more greedy and raising the price of these game cards? Or, I mean, we don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Or they're not dropping like maybe people expected.
Right.
Like, we don't know the difference between an 8 gig and a 12 gig because you got to times that by 500,000 is how many they're going to.
Hold on a second, just let me go get my aluminum foil hat real quick before we continue.
So we don't know if Nintendo's being playing hardball because the Switch's success, or we don't. Maybe the prices haven't changed and it's just like they didn't make as much as they thought off of Doom and Skyrim and they want to make some more. So we don't know. So it's hard to really have an opinion on whose fault it is in this. regard, but Doom was on a 16 gig card. Skyrim was all on a 16 gig card. So if Wolfenstein 2 is truly only 13.7 gigs, I don't get it. So
doesn't make sense.
I think the bigger question is who's publishing the game, because I'm pretty sure
Bethesda.
Nintendo. Oh, is okay. So they are publishing it in the U.S. because I'm pretty sure Nintendo was published Skyrim.
Skyrim.
And I'm not sure if they published Doom or not.
They didn't.
No, Nintendo's name was nowhere on Doom. I don't know.
Okay, the only reason why I asked is because I know that means Nintendo probably ate the cost for Skyrim. I don't know if they ate the cost they probably didn't eat the cost for Doom, and maybe that's a situation where they're not eating the cost again, and it costs too much for Bethesda to do another 16 gig cart situation.
I mean, you're charging $60. You know, I know the game was 60 when it launched in October, but
that's more offensive for Doom than it was for fucking Wolfenstein, though. In my
Doom
opinion.
was a little bit older, but
Doom to me was less
definitely
justified.
a more popular game. So I mean, I can understand them.
Not really.
With it.
Nah,
Doom, about sales. Doom
has multiplayer, so you get more value out of that. So there is that side of it.
You know, I don't think we've reached the point yet where Nintendo can already raise the card prices when not every major company is even ready to commit to the Switch yet. I think we've got to wait like a year before Nintendo is like, okay, now we might raise the cards, because I don't think they have gotten the cards cheap enough yet. Like now, I think we get half the game again, like we've done before, because companies just don't want to eat that cost. I don't think Nintendo is at the point yet where they can allow them to make them even more expensive than they are, because people are already hesitant to use the bigger cards if it is really just the game that is split in two. And for me, it's easy. As long as I buy this game and it is not the actual game, I've said it before with NBA and with other shit, like I'm not buying a physical game when I'm buying this in the store. So if I would get it, I would get it digitally, because physically it is not a game. And as long as companies don't get bigger cards themselves yet, I don't see Nintendo already raising the prices more, because it's already hard for companies to choose the bigger card.
It just doesn't make sense for them to be doing right now.
Santiago 316 in chat says Doom is published by Nintendo. It says
that means
I don't know though.
That says that Nintendo probably ate the cost for Doom. That's my opinion.
I'm looking at Nintendo.com games, and it specifically says publisher Bethesda Softworks.
Wait.
Yeah, but if it's on the
it's on the case. If it's on the case, then I'm going to go with that.
I'm gonna just check to see if I can find.
So who has Skyrim here? When you boot up Skyrim, does it say Nintendo anywhere in the opening logos?
I have Skyrim, but I wouldn't remember that somehow.
So what is this? I mean, if Nintendo's publishing, then what is Bethesda doing? Because
Bethesda
is the publisher.
Oh no, but I mean, because that means Nintendo's probably eating some of the costs to put the game out.
Different companies publish stuff regionally.
Nintendo's been doing that a lot recently. Like it's like what they did with the Dragon Quest games on the 3DS.
Right.
They publish those, even though Square Enix is the one who made.
Square Enix is the publisher. They're the overall publisher of the game, but regionally, Nintendo published it.
Right on the website it says. Nintendo's own website says publisher Bethesda Softworks. So let me see what Skyrim says on the same site.
Let's see. I'm gonna double check this real quick.
It could be simply part of the deal, you know. If Nintendo said to Bethesda, release all this shit, and we'll, for example, take the head on Skyrim as long as you do the rest. Like it could be
the same thing on the website. So who knows?
I mean, I think
I'm more inclined to believe. Go ahead, clock it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we've kind of gotten there, as in just right now in terms of the differences between the size of the cartridges and the costs, and where we are right now with the Switch, because we're still seeing some developers not wanting to commit to this console. So you can't it's hard to think that they're going to commit to paying even more for the bigger cartridge. I just think at the moment everyone's doing their best to try and keep costs as low as they can, and like we've just discovered just now, Nintendo are publishing a few games where these cartridges are the biggest size ones, and I don't think we'll ever know the price difference between these different size carts, but they must be quite significant, at least significant enough to to not want these other developers to put their game onto these bigger carts. I mean, because at the end of the day, how many copies of this game are they going to make for the Nintendo Switch? Based on what they feel like the game will sell. I mean, we're not at PS4 levels of producing that much software yet. For the single title, and unless it's Nintendo first party titles, I just think it's definitely cost more than anything
we don't know
else.
if is it $5 more? Is it $8 more? $10 more for the?
Yeah, I mean, even that would be $5 would be $10 would be a significant amount, absolutely huge.
Yeah,
absolutely huge.
You got to mass produce that number.
Yeah,
thousands of cases.
If you take into account that a game would sell like $1 million and it's like $10, and that goes out of the developer's budget and not Nintendo, I can definitely see why
they don't want to pay that.
They do that.
They don't want to pay that.
I can
Especially
understand
after all these years of CDs and stuff, paying pennies for that crap.
That's why I'm more inclined to believe that the other games were published by Nintendo, and they were eating that extra cartridge cost for the sake of.
Why wouldn't Wolfenstein 2 be published by Nintendo if they've done these other 2 games? I wonder.
Maybe because
they don't want to pay for that.
They've been doing it a lot with the Switch lately, so they may have just been like, you got to take the hit on this one.
Yeah, exactly. Could be part of a deal where they say we do this, you do that. That way
they've already done 2 games.
Even, and that's also a reason why there's no way I would believe Nintendo would raise the price of cards already when they barely have it actually straightened out.
That'd be suicide. I think.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I would be more sympathetic to the cost and all that shit if I didn't go to the eShop and the game is the same fucking price.
There's
the physical copy, which we know there's a bigger chunk coming out of that physical copy,
right?
With all the shipping and then what you got to pay the store, and by the time you actually make any profit, you might get $20 out of the game. Like, I would be more sympathetic if the digital game didn't cost $60 goddamn dollars.
Yeah,
right.
So I got to point out, David23 made a good point. Wolfenstein 2 didn't sell really well on the other systems, so maybe they just figured it ain't gonna do gangbusters on Switch either. So this definitely ain't gonna help the cause, because to me it's like it really just why am I buying the Switch version again? Like for full price, and I got to download on top of the cartridge. Like I just can't accept that. I can't like for it's hard to say that because like I pointed out again in my Juice Opinions is every game I have, the physical version, other than maybe Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, when I look at my system memory, all those physical games have a bunch of, like, Zelda's 2 gigs and Xenoblade's, like, whatever, close to a gig or something. Like, I have the physical version, but even then, with updates and patches and stuff, you're always downloading something anyway. But it just bugs me that, like, if you had no internet connection and put Wolfenstein 2 in, what's going to be there to play? Like a demo? Like, that's the question that I would be interested to find out the answer to.
Well, apparently Nintendo gamers are expected to make concessions.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. Like,
I got a comment.
I don't have to make concessions. If you can't meet my needs, I'm not going to buy your shit. I don't care about this whole, well, you have to do this, or you're not going to get third party. I don't give a shit. I have another console if I really want third party that much. I'm not going to make concessions.
I got to point out Grimpachi. No offense, but
yeah, okay.
I'm just telling you.
No offense, but
I've already commented on the falsity of your statement. Like, why didn't they go with a UMD style disc in the Switch? How much data do you think fits on a UMD disc?
It's like barely.
Yeah, UMD is worse, in my opinion.
Like, you're going to be maxed out at maybe with new technology, maybe they could get it up to 2, 3, 4. Like, that is, I'm sorry.
Not to mention the cost.
Makes everything else you say kind of like if you
Wow. Let's say if they make a 30 gig, if they have a 30 gig UMD, right? Let's say they have that,
and that's gonna be $50 probably.
How much? Okay, how much is that gonna add into the cost of the Switch and the moving parts and all that stuff you're gonna need for a tiny device? How much more expensive? Reader. Right? How much more expensive would the Switch be?
Like, do the ends justify the means?
And how much thicker it would have to be
bigger. Yeah, it won't.
The disk drive.
What
What would the battery life be with the spinning a little disc? Like, come on.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. I'm sorry.
I just want to throw my 2 cents on the Wolfenstein thing situation, at least as far as my opinion, as far as getting the game on Switch. I wish, if nothing else, give me a reversible slipcover for that fucking physical edition, because that is some ass. Fine, I understand you got to put it on there. Well, give me a reversible slipcover, because you're not putting anything else in the goddamn box. That's the first thing.
Right.
The second point, I'm not really as offended by this, to the point where I'm like, if I'm gonna get the game, I'm not gonna get it on Switch purely because of this. Because to me, the moment if I put up with it on, because the whole idea of, well, if I don't download these patches, then I can't play the game. I'm like, well, that's kind of like every modern game. And I understand that this game is different in the sense it's like NBA, where you literally can't play the majority of the game if you just have the card. Nowadays, I would almost argue it's grouped in the same in the same bucket.
There's a difference between a patch that maybe improves something, like in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like the map and stuff they fixed. Like if you don't have that on your system anymore, the game's still just as playable.
Well, what about if there was a game-breaking bug in the original version of the game?
Well, then that's an issue. That
What is your incentive though? At the end of the day, like, what is your incentive as a Switch owner to buy this game? Because you have to download it on all the other consoles too. So why can't I just do that and pay $20 instead of paying $60?
I guess if you really want to play it,
my main incentive is to play the game on the go. Like
play on the go. That's your only
the
incentive.
value.
If you don't care about that, then where are you?
Well, then you really, actually, to be fair, you wouldn't be looking at the Switch version to begin with.
Probably not.
I'm looking at it, just the gyro version was like the selling point. It's like
The
gyro aiming. I'm like, all right, I'm in. But that's not enough to break a thing I said, back when it was first announced, in October or before, when we found out the whole version of NBA was you had to download. That was like after the patch and stuff, that was like 20 something gigs or plus. Like,
oh yeah, it was fucking stupid.
So the only thing that would make this acceptable for me as an audio file would be like, hey, we got the game under 16, but we just the compression on the audio was just too much. So, we wanted it to give the best experience, so the game's going to be a little bit bigger, like something like that. I'd be like, okay, because that is one of my biggest gripes about Doom is, you can just tell at times, when everything's going all in at once, the sound just kind of can't handle it because of the low, bit rate and the low, file size for the audio. It really suffers on a good like surround system. So I'd be fine if they came out and said something like that, but just come out with saying nothing, no reason why that 13.7 isn't on a cartridge. I just can't accept it. So my plan right now is to finish the New Order on the PS4 and then buy Wolfenstein 2 for $24 on my PS4 and play it if I feel like I still want to play it after beating the New Order.
I'm just doing the wait and see approach.
And Terminator Juice is one of the biggest Nintendo fanboys on the planet. So you just lost that sale. If you lose his sale, ain't no telling how many people.
I was gonna buy Skyrim too, just because I was loving what Bethesda was doing, and now I'm like, yeah, I don't think
you
so.
Should buy Skyrim though.
Yeah, I feel like you're punishing one game for another game.
That's Skyrim, you get everything on the disc. Skyrim.
Yeah, I understand.
I know.
That's not really fair to Skyrim.
Whole DLC and everything. Like that's
still it's Bethesda.
I think
and I don't want to reward them.
But Bethesda is like it's your top third-party company on Switch right now. You can't just.
I was just about to say, I think you're an idiot if you buy any Bethesda game because they are literally the worst company in the whole world. They can't make video games. They're all broken. They're all trash.
If they make
it's getting to that point, guys.
Especially Skyrim.
Oh, these damn Nintendo fanboys in here, man.
Yeah.
Man, I love Fallout 4. I don't know. I love that game.
Finished it yet?
I'm not.
I did that.
I know he did. I just messed with him.
Yeah.
I'm still willing to get the game.
Maybe I mean Skyrim they made the right choices there, so maybe it would be better to buy it. But the thing is, like, I was really hoping the other thing, I was hoping this game would come out sometime in May and not be the fucking end of June after Mario Tennis Aces comes out and Octopath about around the corner and the Octo expansion is like, what the fuck? Like the timing is terrible too. Like,
man, you got more excuses than a little bit, man.
It's sorry, I don't know if I'm being ignorant here, but have they actually confirmed what exactly will be what the download will be?
No, I don't think they have.
Okay,
No.
nice. And we know it got no multiplayer, so it has to be just single player.
Well, we know the size of it, but we don't know how much we're actually downloading.
It's just stupid, man.
We're guessing.
You do feel like, I mean, with Skyrim and Doom, they felt special on the Nintendo Switch, right? You know, Bethesda stepping up, you know, like let's get Skyrim on it, let's add Link in there and stuff like that, and the Master Sword, and let's get Doom on here. We haven't had Doom on a Nintendo console in absolutely years, and then now Wolfenstein 2 feels like just like the run of the mill, you know, let's just get this on there now, and you know, I'm sure it's a great port, but you almost feel like not as much effort in ensuring that full quality product like the other games.
You can tell the effort was put into the actual game. I mean, it looks great.
No, I don't mean that. I'm talking about.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not trying to counter you or anything. Yeah. I'm just saying it. That's why it's sad, because it looks like they put work into it.
Well, that's my opinion. That's why I'm saying they've had a lot of goodwill up until this point. I'm willing to at least wait and see before making like a legit judgment against them, because it'd be a different story if it was like if we've been getting like half-ass ports and then they pulled this shit. But the fact that they've been pretty consistent and they've supported something that a lot of Nintendo fans like in the form of gyro aiming, I'm not willing to just be like, nah, fuck that.
It could also just be that because Skyrim and Doom, I think, sell a lot better. And if Bethesda feels like that Wolfenstein just isn't much money to be made out of, so eating that extra cost for the card, they might as well not have released it. I feel it's probably something like that.
To me that's worse, because if you want the game to have an audience, don't make it harder for people to buy it. Some people like if Wolfenstein didn't sell that well on the other two consoles, don't make it even harder for the Switch owner to justify buying it.
Exactly. It's like a FIFA situation, isn't it? You know, you just know EA can be.
Real quick.
Actually, no, wait. Let me take that.
You just brought it up, and I want to mention it.
No, let me take that back. It's not like a FIFA situation. Nothing goes down to the level of EA.
By the way,
Bethesda. No, I'm taking that back. Let's go back in time.
No, real quick. Anyway, no. Right? Yeah. You mentioned that fucking FIFA update at the end of this month.
What's the FIFA update?
It's what the fuck was it?
I did Russia.
Say what?
Is it finally gonna be FIFA 18?
I did Russia for the World Cup or whatever.
Yeah, it's like adding Russia.
I got no time for that Russian collusion.
What you got against Russia, man? Yeah, adding Russia content update.
They colluded. That's what.
Did they add Friends Lobby for online?
It's a free download, and it is. What does it tell me? Oh, let you play. Oh, it pretty much is adding more players from Russia that you can play with. Doesn't really mention anything else though. It's just a random free update for FIFA 18 that we can't get friend lobbies for a goddamn game that came out almost, what was it, like 7-8 months ago at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about it. Just move on.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of hoped this kind of wrapped up this Wolfenstein 2 thing. You know, we're talking almost July. I kind of hoped that this kind of stuff would be lessened, like especially when they can get the game under 16 gigs. Like, why even bother then? If we're gonna have to download something, why even bother getting it under 16 gigs? I don't understand what the benefit is at that point of sacrificing audio quality and stuff if you're not going to fit it all on the game card.
Put that quality back in there if you're going to make us download. But I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's like, well, we know we have to make them download something. Let's make them download the least amount as possible. So I get that.
So yeah, the next thing, I don't know. I probably should have talked to you guys before the podcast. Does anybody want to address anything from last week?
Like
anyone want to address the audience on the podcast from last week? I just want to give open mic. If you do or don't, you don't have to. we can just move right on. But
Move on.
No,
I want to say something.
we never criticized Nintendo like we just
Move
did.
on, damn it.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
want to say that people overreact to a lot of things in this world, and
I love Robert. Can we get this
and
man a
that was
trophy?
and that was just another thing people overreacted to, and it's like, dude, there's so many things to like look at in life. Why complain? Like, I mean, calm down, people. Come on. That's what I gotta say.
10 out of 10. But yeah, that
I think
wraps
it's
it up.
I would add that to it, just like I think because I think several podcasts where everybody talked about God of War, and if people assume if you give a tiny bit of criticism on some aspect that you don't like from what you see, people instantly assume you're hating the game, because basically we're not the only podcast, but most podcasts talking about God of War, they're like downvoted like crazy because it's such a touchy subject. When people think like I mean, people started bitching when I said like there's some things about Breath of the Wild I don't like, but like you don't see Nintendo fans like downvoting shit just because you say something bad about Breath of the Wild.
You won't see me in the
Get
comments
over it.
sections. You won't see me on them. I don't care. Like I don't put too much credence into reviews anyway. Am I happy when a game that I like gets good reviews? Of course. You won't hear me talking about it. You won't hear me like, oh yeah, game of the year. This is it better win this or it better get these. Like I don't give a shit.
I don't even know what if no one said what the Metacritic was, I don't know what the Metacritic is for Super Mario Odyssey or
I have no idea.
Gravity Rush 2. I have no clue. I don't even look at that site anymore. Like for years.
Meta shit.
I don't trust. Like I can't consistently trust reviewers. So why should I be excited when they give a game that I like good accolade? No, I'm not going to do that because then I'd just be, I'd be hypocritical doing that. So I just rather not even talk about the reviews unless I'm only going to talk about reviews when I feel like they're shady, because I'm not going to talk about when I feel like they're good or they're right or they're perfect, because I only talk about it when I feel like they're shady, because I've seen stuff that just seems shady to me, especially in movies like the Ghostbusters movie. Like everybody hated that movie, but somehow the critical score is pretty high on it.
Yeah,
the new release, and I'm like, there's no way.
I saw it. I mean, it wasn't nothing special, but I
don't think it was terrible.
It wasn't like a disaster, but it wasn't nothing special. It was just kind of like
right.
Forgotten.
I just wanted to say, I was on Twitter earlier, and I think you mentioned this as well. I was watching this video of Breath of the Wild, and Link was up on a raft. He was up really high in the sky, and he fires the person fires an arrow off this raft, and then jumps off the raft and falls down.
First, he does some sky surfing.
Yeah, but does a sky surfing somehow breaks the physics. So he falls slightly faster than the arrow, breaking gravity and all that stuff. He lands without using his parachute, but when he lands, a fairy brings him back to life, and then the arrow falls right behind him, hits a beehive, and the beehive starts chasing him.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could say was, "You can't do that in God of War, baby!" Yeah.
No, all I'll just say is that like that like to me it's just it's just weird the way I think people reacting to that, because like I don't think we said anything that was like bad. Like you just
here's the thing. First of all, I wasn't expecting Robert to I thought you'd be more blown away by the game.
I had no idea.
I thought it was really good. I was expecting
but it is really good.
I was taken a bit off by that, but I had to keep reminding people, talking about the overreactions by some people in the quote unquote medias. Like that's what we focused on, the BBC saying,
we didn't say the game was terrible. We didn't say the game sucked.
Basically, no one said,
they were basically saying that, games in the past have dabbled into the stories this nature, but now after God of War, now it's time to expect more complex stories, which we went into why that's ridiculous. Another quote unquote gaming media guy saying that we need to get these games rebooted in the vein of God of War, using the blueprint of God of War, when we find out that Metroid was a heavy inspiration in God of War. So why would Metroid need to be rebooted to be like God of War? It's like, that was what we were talking about, but it's for whatever reason, something about this game, it's because it's the hype thing, because the reviews are high. For some people, I think the high reviews mean that it's like it's the popular thing right now. So anybody saying anything negative, we got people
sensitive about it.
We got people in the comment section I haven't seen in the Juices Loose comment section in years. Guys, I know that they didn't listen to the whole podcast. They heard there was salt in the water and they came running, stuff like that. You had one dude who got mad because I put him in a timeout for 300 seconds, create 20
you mean Robert?
20 accounts. 20 accounts and put thumbs down every time I'm guessing every time I blocked his new dumb fake account, he gave another thumbs down. And it's just like when Sea of Thieves was getting trashed by us for 2 different podcasts, the Xbox One, Muhammad took that stuff like a champ. Xbox fanboy.
Yeah.
And for some reason, even Nintendo guys were calling us salty and stuff. And I'm just like, what is it about God of War that first had some people in the media just
it's acceptable to bash on Microsoft and bash on Microsoft games. That's acceptable. Don't talk about Sony though.
And Muhammad deserves a fucking medal with all the shit we give.
No, he's not here today, but it was just right? What is it about this? Robert said all games look good. Like he's not wowed by graphics anymore because if you played Horizon Zero Dawn or Uncharted 4, like they're all amazing looking games. They all look, I wouldn't say from Uncharted 4 to God of War, there's a huge leap in visual fidelity.
Exactly. Like they all look really
So he says
good.
that. And then he said the story wasn't at that point, hadn't done anything for you. And I'm just like, so, we talked about it. So I don't know, man. It was crazy. I did not expect that kind of reaction, even though during the podcast we're like, yeah, we sound like salty fanboys, and I knew we sounded that way, and it's like we acknowledge it. So tell me something we don't know. How about you tell me something? Why God of War is so great? If you played it, tell us about it. Like
that's the discussion part. Like it doesn't make sense.
Since we're having this conversation, I'm just gonna throw in my 10 cents real here. It's gonna be real quick. You have the right to dislike the video if you disagree with it. And I have the right to say whatever the fuck I want to say about a certain game or the way a game is perceived. At the end of the day, it's people's opinions. You're losing your shit over what I say. It's not a big deal. But like I said, you have the right to dislike the video if you want to. So,
and that's not going to be
the standard. Up with the
bullseye.
Only you can do it, T.
That's not going to be
call you every time you want to use that joke and pay you for it.
It's not going to be the new standard format for the Juices Loose podcast to rip on games we haven't played because they're popular.
Thank you, Lil Crave. It exactly reminds me of, because I was a guy who was looking forward to No Man's Sky. Like that was a game that appealed to me. I remember just going in comment sections, asking, okay, well, what's the gameplay? What's the game about? People would get on my head about that game. They upset. Like, what are you talking about? They just showed you 20 minutes of gameplay. Like they would get pissed off. And it's God of War. It feels very similar to that. And it's just like, well, I'm actually looking forward to the game. I just want to know what's going on. No, shut up.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because most of us, I don't know about Trout, I think most of us, we're just looking forward to playing the game. That's how with Breath of the Wild. Like when we saw Breath of the Wild before it came out, there were no dungeons and shit, and I was like, god damn it, no fucking dungeons and Zelda and shit. That doesn't change anything about how much I fucking love the game and want to play it, You can't have some criticism and still like shit.
I want to point this out, and everybody listen. Before
I can't open my ears like
before
that.
Before the critical praise, and like I did not expect the new God of War. From what I saw, I was like, I don't think the God of War fans are going to like this, and I wasn't one of those fans, so I was actually looking for them to make a change. But I was like, you know what? Don't really think, that's going to be a game for me. But unanimous, like all these people saying how great, and then even though I pointed out that the highlights of the reviews aren't the gameplay, and that's usually a red flag for me. But then watching clips, watching like advanced moves, and playing on harder difficulties, because of all that, I was like, yeah, I'm going to pick up the game probably once it drops down to $40 or something, when there's nothing else to play. I might even get it in May just because there's really nothing else for me to play. I was never going to get the game until like just so many people saying something's good, and maybe could be part of the problem by saying this, but it was actually convinced that I'll pick this game up now because
I get that.
There's this many people saying.
I tell you what it's like. I tell you what it's like. From my perspective, just quickly, maybe I'll be wrong with this, but like I said, I played all the God of Wars, and they've all been okay games, good games, whatever. And I suppose some people would look at that the same as like Assassin's Creed, just being okay, just good games. And then suddenly an Assassin's Creed comes out after all this time, and it gets 10 out of 10s everywhere, and you're like, what? I know it looks good, but this is a bit hard to believe. I need to really taste this myself. And you had that level of skepticism where you've had a good series, not a staggeringly amazing series. You've had a good series, and then suddenly, after all this time, a game comes out with some changes, and next thing you know, it's got this universal praise, and people calling it perfection, the best game ever made. All this stuff, and sometimes that is hard to believe, especially when you've been invested yourself in this series. So
I totally get you. That was a great example of, I was gonna say, for me, because you guys, not just you guys, but I always hear how great Last of Us is, and I was excited to play it, and I got it, and that bitch collects dust on my shelf. I don't like, I played it I probably got 10 hours in it, and I'm just like bored. Like, I get bored with it, and the same thing happens to me with, like you said, Assassin's Creed games. I'll hear about how many people love this game, and I'm just like, it's not doing anything for me. I end up buying them, but I never end up finishing them. And that's the same for Metal Gear games. I always end up buying Metal Gear games, and I never end up finishing them because I get caught up in it's great. I love this is one of the best games in the series, blah blah, and I get nowhere in it because it doesn't keep me.
Yeah, I did that I bought Metal Gear Solid, or I bought my PS4 to play Metal Gear Solid 4 because oh my God, it's unanimous. People love this game. And I'm sitting there for 40 minutes watching cinematics that make no sense about war economy. So just to clarify.
The PS3, the PS3 Metal Gear 4, is it?
Did I say PS4?
Yeah, you said.
Yeah, I meant PS3. That's the only reason I bought the PS3 at the time. But just to clarify, I tweeted when the first highlight or the first reviews were coming out, and it was when they take all the best phrases from a review and kind of put it in the top, or they'll do like a TV ad with amazing, best in the series, just take quotes from people. When I saw these quotes and I didn't see one thing about gameplay, I was like, oh, people are caught up in the visuals and story. And then, so I had a tweet about that, which got a lot of flack. But then people were pointing out, well, a lot of people saying gameplay is good. So I was like, all right, I'll watch some live streams or I'll watch people play it. And I'm like, all right, still looks like Dark Souls or something like, that style of gameplay, but whatever. So my interest kind of peaked, but then it doesn't stop the fact, or it doesn't change that when somebody, like I said, says something kind of ridiculous, we got a podcast, we got stuff we need to talk about. And I thought it would be fun to talk about, some of those stupid comments that were being made, and point out the fact that Zobi70 pointed out that, they review these cinematic games and all of a sudden they pull out these big words and stuff. I just thought that was funny stuff to talk about in the podcast.
It was interesting. It's because it's true. It's not like it's not true.
Just to counter, I watched Breath of the Wild reviews, and it's like everyone were just talking about the world and what you could do in it. Like, there was hardly any mention of the story or the dialogue.
Got no story,
So I was just trying to I was thinking, well, I better watch Breath of the Wild reviews, make sure people didn't do the exact same thing. And maybe somebody did somewhere, but none of the reviews I rewatched we're using these big words trying to make it sound.
You see, they in the chat right now talking about Snake Eater. I couldn't play that game for more than 10 minutes. my son has beat that game 3 times already. And I'm like, I'm kind of embarrassed by that. I'm kind of embarrassed.
That was my best singing voice, by the way. Don't expect to hear it again.
I barely heard it.
Sorry,
but I just want to talk about that clip from Breath of the Wild, and let me find it on Twitter so I can.
Wait, are you talking about the trailer,
one you
the
just
Switch
mentioned,
event, which is the best video game trailer ever made?
No, I'm talking about that clip of him sky surfing with the arrow.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was insane.
I just gotta find it. There it is. So first off, he must have attached octo balloons because I don't know how it got that high up.
Yeah.
Unless it's the Wii U version. No, it's the Switch version, so it wasn't hacked. But first of all, he's doing ridiculous. It looks like the game was made for sky surfing. If you've ever seen anybody do sky surfing with a surfboard or a snowboard, it's got the perfect twirl. The tip of the snowboard goes up from the wind, and somehow his arrow hit that fucking beehive.
Incredible.
Like, it's now. Is this anything that I would have figured out? No. Does it add to my gameplay experience? No. But it's just incredible to see what happens when you give players this freedom.
There's no way he could have planned that.
How did he?
Been an accident. It gotta be.
How the fuck did he hit that beehive? How? It's ridiculous. Unless he tried it 100 different times, I don't know. And I put it in the chat. Hopefully that link worked. But it's just now. Not every game needs that.
Sorry.
Not every game needs this, something like that, where you can do that. But what I'm saying is, this shows like the game design of this game went above and beyond just playing it, finding, talking to Zelda in the memories. Some people probably didn't even find all the memories, and you could just go play, beat the Divine Beast and beat Ganon and miss out on a lot of this cool stuff. And I'm sure there's a few things I missed in Horizon that maybe would have a cool side quest or something might have been that I missed or something. But it just blows my mind what they put into that game. And again, not every game needs to be like that. There's no way every game can have 5-6 years of development cycle and have, the physics and all that in one game and have that be practical for a lot of developers. So, but when you see that, it definitely is above the rest in my eyes. So I know somebody's talked about how we praised Zelda when it was getting good reviews and stuff, and
you just missed the whole conversation.
Except for when I said, the praise about the game where almost everybody were actually playing the game and what you could do in the game. It was not like, oh my God, that dynamic between Link and Zelda, it's so complex, it's so deep. Like, to me, that's the difference. But we're just going down that same road of gameplay over story. So,
and this is why I said don't address it, but we couldn't do it.
All right, so with that out of the way,
no, it would have been too hard.
And I didn't want to start with that because
these bitches don't tell us what to do. We gonna talk about what we want to talk about.
Yeah, who are they to police us?
I'm not gonna get policed by another fanboy. It doesn't make no damn sense.
Move on, damn it.
So let's talk about the financial report for the Switch.
An hour and a half in.
We gave our predictions for the Switch and for Mario Odyssey. So let's start by finding out who was closest. So I predicted 19.2 million Switch sales, RetroDeath 20, T 18.7, clocked it 19.6.
God damn it.
Terrell 17.9. And Robert 17.7. So what was the actual number?
17.7. Robert wins that
Terrell,
shit.
What was the actual number?
17.79.
Oh my God!
So by 10,000, it was Robert. If it would have been 17.8, then it would have been a tie with him in the.
Unbelievable. Here Terrell. I was happy. I felt like.
Yeah, look at that. Screwed. I never.
So Robert by barely, but good prediction. All right, so Mario Odyssey, clocked it, 16
Oh God,
million.
no, don't say my numbers. Don't say my numbers.
RetroDeath, 15 million. Terrell, 12.3. T, 12.1. Robert, 11.5. Terminator Juice, 10.9. And the number was, Terrell?
10.41.
Booyah.
God damn.
I had that motherfucker. So
I think we overshot that painfully.
Yeah, I was actually thinking I went way low, but
yeah, I thought it was low because the way the game was selling, like
low.
But, Mario Kart 8's been outselling it weekly since the New Year. So
that's crazy.
I never thought clearly about this.
Your fanboy,
just move on.
and you just had to, think it was Sold 7 million since December.
It wasn't Mario Odyssey anymore.
But so yeah, I mean, we made predictions. There's still great numbers, even though the Switch wasn't as high as most of us predicted. Mario didn't have those huge numbers, but Zelda, and I was gonna have us guess, but officially they said that Breath of the Wild is the highest selling.
Yeah, officially.
Yeah.
But
So
I think they're also counting the Wii U up.
Yeah,
They're counting the Wii U version.
But to be fair, the Switch version is almost sold as much.
Well, it's fair because
the Switch version is at 8.48.
It's fair because of Twilight Princess. I'm sure we count all the count the GameCube and
Like I think it's already outsold Twilight Princess on the Wii is where it sold the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Wii is where it sold the most.
Yeah. So it's probably it doesn't hit the GameCube numbers yet, but with the Wii U, it surpasses it. That's the idea I'm believing.
So Laker Link, that's a funny comment, but we've already moved on.
I see.
Ain't no point, man. Ain't no point.
Wow.
So I mean, Nintendo said they needed to sell 2 million Breath of the Wilds to break even.
Yeah,
and
they've
did that.
been good.
Biggest selling Zelda ever.
Nah, I was listening to a Microsoft podcast. They said they ain't made no money, so.
I know. Never mind.
About the Wii U version.
We got to stop that shit. Just because ain't nothing happening on your plastic doesn't mean you have to downplay somebody else's plastic.
I think they were trying to. I think they tried to copy Wind Waker with Sea of Thieves, but they failed.
Oh, because Phil Spencer said single player games are expensive. They don't really make a lot of money off of them, and so the fanboys heard that and like, well, Zelda ain't made no money.
Well, yeah, I mean that's another point for God of War that I'm happy. Or if it sells, I'm guessing it'll sell really well.
Yeah.
But then that just proves that stupid statement.
Right. I want it to sell well because I want single player games to keep going on. So.
Yeah, and it's like,
arguably, this new God of War could actually be the highest rated, or one of the highest rated PlayStation games ever made. I mean, it might actually be the highest rated PlayStation game. I can't remember.
No, Uncharted 2, I think it goes to that. I think Uncharted 2.
Is it really?
I think it's Uncharted. I think Uncharted 2 has like a 96 or something.
Yeah. So the PlayStation 4 just announced that they're at like 73 million. So I mean, this is God of War, right? This is their ideal game. This is why people bought the PlayStation 4. So I mean, it should sell.
About 27 million.
Incredibly.
Even though Colin Moriarty I think he was trying to downplay it or something. He was preemptive strike if this game was a flop or something, because he was like, oh, the pre-orders are soft, whatever, a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing
it should do Zelda numbers. It should do Zelda numbers. It should go past it.
Apparently, Horizon Zero Dawn did like 6-7 million or something. So
it should go past it.
Yeah, I mean, it should be up there. It's not the game for everybody, I wouldn't think, but it should definitely be over 5 million, you would think, with the praise and the install base. So, but anyway, back to the Switch's sales. What was Mario Kart 8 was actually number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Mario Kart 8 is 9.22 million.
So
Polygon, I think it's already outsold the Wii U version, right?
Yeah. Polygon, Mario Kart 8, lowest selling Mario Kart game. I mean, there's no way they would have known they were gonna put it on the next system, but
you're still gonna bring it up to rub it in their face, though, aren't
but still, it's at like almost 19 million or 18 million at this point.
There's a game on here who I'm offended by their numbers.
1-2 Switch.
Yeah, that's fucking. It's 2.29 million, which means that game is still fucking selling. Why in the fuck?
And it's $50 still.
That's the thing. Why is it still selling? I can understand that it's sold well because it was a what do you call it? Launch game, and it had that whole kind of Switch gimmick thing going for their HD Rumble party game. I get that, but why the hell is that game still selling?
Yeah, like I was looking at the UK charts for the day. It's still in the UK charts for some fucking reason, on a weekly basis.
Let's not forget that the Switch is still literally only just over a year old. So a lot of these casuals aren't going to buy the Switch at launch or halfway through the year. They're going to be buying it around about now. So this is why.
Why would you wish on that game?
Well, they wouldn't wish on anyone, but they've just probably heard about what to Switch, from their friends, like, okay, now I'm gonna get myself a Switch. That's why it's still selling a bit. I got what to
Mario
Switch.
Kart 8 Deluxe. I
That's
get.
what it for me.
I just don't understand why it's still 50 and why anybody's buying it.
Well, it's still 50 because it's still selling. That's why it's still 50.
I made a video a while
If it stopped
back.
selling, they would stop charging $50 for it.
You guys
Make a
remember
pure profit off that shit.
Yeah, that's fucking
when I made that
insanity.
Switch games, I think, should get a price drop, and 1-2 Switch was number one because there's no.
It should have been number one and number two.
Funny.
Wow. I don't get a golf clap. The fuck? Go ahead.
But it's like that one out of all of them. Like I even said, Arms but Arms has sold pretty well. It's what
it got a boost, so it's at 1.85.
Still wouldn't be.
Yeah, I'm happy that it.
Because it was hanging around like 1.3 for
0.3. I was like, nah.
I think they dropped that to 40 though. They're gonna get another boost. So people might pick it up now.
It hit over 2 million.
because it's a better fucking game.
By far.
You can't even put it in the conversation with 1-2 Switch. Like,
how dare they? That's why I'm mad they can't even still outselling it.
Well, Splatoon 2, what was that? 6 something?
6.02.
That's definitely outsold Splatoon 1.
Yeah, Splatoon 1 is right now at 4.93. So it's already a million over, a little bit over a million.
And then Kirby
1.26.
Kirby, my boy, my pink ball, killing it out there.
This man came out of nowhere and said, "Y'all thought I can't make no money? Y'all forgot who I is. You forgot who my daddy
I
is."
have. The
Kirby, bitch.
This isn't a game I played, but I'm just telling you. It seems for the new Switch game, the new releases, not ports of Wii U games, it seems the one that sticks the closest to what Splatoon 2 actually also sticks close to what the original did.
Yeah, I'm about to say, don't.
They didn't branch out at all with this Kirby game. It really feels like, they stayed very safe with it, which is pretty much the whole series. You could say that about, but to not really push for like that, what we're seeing with the new Yoshi game, like I don't know, it just feels very safe and
it's
even
super safe.
And it's one of the better. So I'm guessing one of the better launches for a Kirby game.
It's the best one.
It just got me a little concerned that they're like, all right, let's just stick with it.
They know that shit ain't gonna work again. It's part of timing because there was really nothing else out there from Nintendo first party at that time.
Right.
And I mean, it's a Kirby game, so Kirby's
still killing it no matter who the fuck tells you.
I guarantee you, Nintendo is surprised by this, but it's not gonna be a referendum. Oh, we can do this with Kirby all the time. Nah, it ain't gonna work like that. They
this was their best. Yeah, this is the best debut for a Kirby game ever.
Just Jess on YouTube. She's a huge Kirby fan. She was even after the demo, she was still like made a video like why I'm still excited for Kirby. Haters be damned. And then when she started playing it and the AI is just killing everything and she wants to absorb an ability and her AI just completely just destroys everything on screen and she's just like shrugs her shoulders and is like, I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah. And that happens a lot.
So I can't say that I'm disappointed. I do wish I want
I want it better more. I want it better.
Yeah, I want it better.
My problem, because I'm also a huge Kirby fan, like the original NES game is one of my favorite games, but the problem with Kirby is unlike Zelda and Yoshi, Kirby is like one of the only franchises that's been regressing since it was made. Like they had this ultimate masterpiece that was hard, it was challenging, got incredible secrets. And every new Kirby game, you get less and less and less to what's borderline like a fucking walking simulator now. I was expecting Epic Yarn is almost it's a better game than this.
And Epic Yarn was.
I'm not willing to say that.
You go too far.
Whatever. I played Yarn. Yarn is a boring fucking game.
Tease like it did something different at least.
Yeah, it looked different.
Aesthetically,
it looked different, and it didn't do any Kirby.
That's all I'll give it.
It didn't do any Kirbiness. It just looked different.
Epic Yarn
it has a cool aesthetic, but I would play Star Allies over that any day.
Any day.
What talk about Epic Yarn was freaking awesome, man.
I love Epic Yarn.
That game looked awesome.
No, that game looked all right. Looked good.
It had some cool gameplay mechanics here and there, but
Epic Yarn bitch slap is the other Kirby games for sure. I love it.
One of the reasons.
One at a time, guys. One at a time. 4 people are talking. Retro or whoever was just
Yeah,
one of the
retro.
main reasons people hated on the Yarn game was that because you couldn't die. I was finishing the third level, not world level almost, of Star Allies. I had over 50 fucking lives already. You can't just hate on Epic Yarn just because of it was easy, because that's the main thing that, like I said, every Kirby game does less and less and less, and you can walk straight through this game without any effort. Like you said, the AI does everything for you. It's playing your game. It's almost a cinematic experience.
I wish you could.
I wouldn't call it a cinematic experience.
My favorite is Epic Yarn and Rainbow Curse. Those are my
How
two
dare
favorites.
you, Robert?
Epic Yarn and
At
Rainbow
least
Curse.
Rainbow Curse is a game.
Two games that are not mainline Kirby games. Those are his favorite. Get out of here.
I have Rainbow
Yeah, the
Curse is my
fuck?
favorite.
That's like my favorite Pokemon game is my Pokemon Red.
Eat a dick. Eat a dick.
So let's move on from this.
It makes me so mad when I hear that, yo.
Let's talk about that Donkey Kong
Nintendo
disappearing.
wanting to hit 20 million, and like they're
Wait,
off
what?
to a slow start
Wait,
for
what
this
are you
next
talking
year. They want to boost their sales prediction was 20 million.
Oh, that's what you were saying. I was confused. I was like, what?
And if you look at
Donkey Kong did. I was like, what?
No. He's
focus, guys.
He skipped the topic because no one. He tried to be slick with it. You ain't slick, boy. I saw it.
So if you look at the sales from December 31st, the Switch was at what 14.
So it
and a
went up
half or
about
something.
another. It went up another 3 million.
About 3 million in 3 months. So they're averaging 1 million a month. I'm guessing that's not going to change anytime soon in the next few months with just Wii U ports coming out. So they really, I mean, they know Smash. They confirmed Smash. They confirmed Fire Emblem. Pokemon, it was kind of a maybe. And then Yoshi.
To y'all.
And it's like, so let's say we get to September and it averages 6 million or 1 million a month, and until September, then they got like 9 million to make up, or 10 million to make up in the next 3-4 months. Let's see, October. Yeah.
Are they talking fiscal year, which is March?
Oh wait, that's fiscal. So
Yeah, it is fiscal. Yeah.
You're also so January, February, March next year, which I wouldn't expect too much. Any huge games. So either way.
You might get Prime 4.
Yeah, you better sell your ass out.
You might get what's the other one?
What?
I don't know if you get Bayonetta. I don't think
Animal Crossing in this.
I don't think you're gonna get Bayonetta.
So the question is, and
This is what we see
Kojima even said that the games are in place. We don't know of all of them yet. So we know Smash, we know Farm, we know Yoshi, and possibly Pokemon. So do you think that there is another like heavy hitter for the second half?
I don't think it's heavy.
Or do you think it's Pokemon?
I don't think it's. I think it's a AA franchise. I don't think it's a AAA franchise.
I agree with Terrell. I think it's a Wii Sports type of situation going on. I'm not saying it's Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Quote me on that. But I'm saying I think it's a Wii Sports like app or video game that's gonna
catch fire.
It's gonna catch fire. It's gonna catch fire.
Because I think they're trying to set themselves up for an all-around good coverage. Like the big problem is that they used to over rely on like that one heavy AAA game and then kind of like sprinkle some AA games throughout the year. I think they're trying to cover all their bases this latter half of the year. And I think Mario Tennis is going to be the kickoff. They're going to kick it off with Mario Tennis, and then from that point, you're just going to start getting bangers. That's what I think.
Yep, I agree.
I've said this from the start, and I meant it every time I said it. When we get the first Pokemon trailer, in that month, we're gonna get 10 million Switches.
People are gonna lose their damn minds.
Pokemon is such. It is the greatest system seller Nintendo has. If it comes out this year, which I personally didn't really believe, if it comes out this year, that is gonna push the sales all the way through those 20 millions, and then you get Christmas, and you get all that shit. Like Pokemon alone will do that shit, and when you add to that all those other games, then yeah, it's gonna push it beyond that. But Pokemon is enough for that, and next to that, Animal Crossing is the only other game that can do what Pokemon will do, and it will destroy those sale numbers.
Pokemon. I'm still in the mindset that Pokemon's coming this year. It's gonna be the last game.
I'm gonna see. Game Freak will push that game out this year. If they think they can do it, they'll fucking do it. I don't necessarily think they should, but they're probably going to. So I would more line.
Subliminal Lime had a good point. What if they have a brand new 2D Mario game slated?
Oh my god! See, I didn't even think about that. Oh my god!
Because those always outsell the 3D ones.
They do,
which is a damn shame in some aspects.
Why is that a shame?
As long as it doesn't look like
3D games deserve more love, man.
No, I'm just saying because 2D Marios are more accessible to more people. That's what
I understand.
That's why it's a damn shame these accessible motherfuckers need to get into 3-dimensional stuff.
Oh god damn!
You talking about my mama?
God damn!
we don't need
mafia hat on. Get this man.
We don't need another 2D Mario because
my mama don't like 3D Mario. She like 2D.
Okay, that clock is.
I can say we don't need another 2D Mario because we got Mario Maker. Remember?
Yeah.
Are we gonna get a point of that? Is that what's gonna happen?
Make your own 2D Mario.
Shout out to Mohammed. He's finally in the chat. I don't know if you heard us giving him props. I just wanted to give him props for taking us bashing Sea of Thieves like a champ, unlike the Sony fans who came in here crying last week.
There shouldn't even be a point of congratulations.
Sony fans,
But this seems like a dumb thing to even bring up. Congratulations for taking the criticism of a game you didn't make.
Congratulations for being an adult. You gotta have some respect for the
name. But this is basic shit. I feel like everyone you should be an adult.
It ain't basic in this community, but anyway. So a 2D Mario on top of Smash, Pokemon, whether Pokemon's out in 2018 or early 2019, still gonna probably be in that fiscal year. That's also gonna be huge. I mean, Nintendo usually, other than that first year of the Wii U, they're usually low on their numbers. So they must. I'd be shocked if it didn't hit 20, but I'm just wondering what you guys thought if there was another game. Let's talk about the new president. Somebody have his name? I only can pronounce it.
His name is Shuri Curry, is what I call him. Shiryuki Furukawa?
No, it's
you can.
I'm close.
It's
Shuntaro Furukawa.
Okay.
Furukawa, yeah.
I call him Shuri Fury. That's my
it.
I copyrighted that shit. Don't take.
So he takes over after E3, a little bit after E3, 46 years old.
When Mario Tennis Aces come out.
His statement, like Clocked It pointed out, he didn't pull any punches. He's just like letting people know this is what's up. Maybe we should find that quote because I'm trying to think of exactly. Basically, what he's saying is, they're gonna balance tradition with, and he didn't really specify, but I'm guessing more of a modern take. I don't know, maybe embrace some things. I'm thinking that's going to affect maybe their outlook on online moving forward, or certain game development. But basically saying, I respect Miyamoto, but that there's got to be more than respect. Like he.
Oh yeah, I think I found it.
Yeah, how do you say it? It goes Shuntaro Furukawa.
Yeah.
We figured that out.
Let's see if this is the quote.
How do you say
his name, Robert?
No, I know.
How
do you say his name though? How do you pronounce it?
You said
Shuntaro
Furukawa. I said it right.
Yeah,
I did. Okay, all right.
I remember when Kimishima was weird at first. I couldn't say Kimishima.
That's why you were trying to say Hiroshima. That's probably why.
All right, you got the quote.
Let's see. We will develop this company to its fullest. I will balance Nintendo's traditions, originality, and flexibility. I grew up playing the Famicom and come from that generation. Now as a member of management with Super Mario's creator, Shigeru Miyamoto, I have a lot of respect for him. On the other hand, with this new job, that can't just be it. So I expect to say what needs to be said to run the company.
Yeah, so basically, I'm not fucking around.
Everybody needs to recognize Miyamoto is great, but that motherfucker is not.
He ain't running shit up in here.
Yeah, he is not. He is not. He has had his moments, and
Miyamoto, so he's saying even if Miyamoto, if what's the new president's name? One more time.
Shuntaro Furukawa.
Furukawa.
So he's saying if he basically what he's saying, Miyamoto's working on a project or something, and he's got his mindset, and this guy comes in and is like, no, we're changing that. That needs to be this, and this. Like that's what he kind of set it up for. Like, this is how he's going to run it. So
I think it's going to be like
sit your cartoon ass down.
If they would have done if they would have done Star Fox Zero later, for example, and Miyamoto came in and he's like, let's add motion control. This is sit your ass down, and then you're gonna get a good Star Fox game.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, don't be hating on Star Fox Zero.
I actually like Zero, but I wouldn't mind if they, did something different the next time. I would like the option to have the gyro aiming still though, because I really got used to that and like that. So, but with without the dual screen stuff,
that was my.
But I don't mind the gyro aiming at all, and I'm a big fan of that. So any thoughts on this guy's quote, his statement, and basically setting?
That's a good first impression.
Yeah,
he's a badass.
We need to recognize. I think everyone's kind of started to recognize that. Listen, Miyamoto's always going to be cool. He's always going to be that guy, but he's also needs to watch his shit sometimes, because there are things that he will do that just don't make any fucking sense. But he's a creative type, and sometimes you gotta get the fucking chain and whip and reel that motherfucker in sometimes, and someone needs to do that. So I'm glad we got a dude coming out the gate like, you ain't gonna get away with all this shit. All right, I'll let you do. We're gonna still do Nintendo shit, but you ain't doing this overstepping boundaries.
I had the image in my head that of Miyamoto cowering in the corner while being hosed down by four cars. Like, back off, motherfucker! Back off.
Just to compare to
don't put no gamepad in this shit.
Don't make me get the hose.
Kimishima's regime, or his start of his, being the president, I don't remember any kind of statements like this, or he's basically saying he's going to continue with what Iwata put in place, I believe. And he really didn't have a presence, like, other than the January Switch event. That's the first time we ever seen him speaking at all. Like, that's the only time I've ever seen him in video form. I've only seen photos of him.
Apparently, Obi-Wan has a video of him when he was at E3. And the only thing I heard of note is that he's incredibly short.
The new guy?
No, Kimishima. Kimishima is way shorter than people think he is. I think, and people got to remember, Kimishima is almost 70. He's like 68.
He's 68, yeah.
I think he's just ready. He was like, listen, I'm coasting right now.
They always say he's going to be temporary, so I don't know why people are surprised.
And I love how people were like, oh, the Switch's success, that's Kimishima, not Iwata. Like, all he did was do what Iwata had.
That's because there's a lot of fuck Iwata mindset running around.
You know what that is. That's
all. Like, when that man died, everyone had to chill out for a little bit, but as soon as that like death period was over, it was like,
as soon as it was safe,
it was like they stuck the heads out like groundhogs. They stuck the head out of the dirt.
It's just like, I don't even think the DCEU haters waited a day to start saying, "Oh my God, Justice League's going to be better," when they found out that Zack Snyder, his daughter had committed suicide and he was stepping down. Like, they didn't.
Some of these people didn't even let him get cold in their grave. Like, some people were already bashing the dude.
You had that one guy. Remember, wasn't it Michael Pachter? Something stupid,
off the wall, just crazy stuff.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I don't agree with how he ran the company. Like, who gives a shit?
He said the late but not so great. What kind of shit is that? Like,
that's
ridiculous. We need to stop talking about this guy. It just gets me wound up, man.
So,
I feel like,
so thoughts on Furukawa? Are you excited about what he could bring? Are you any concerns? I mean, where are you guys at? I know it's early. We haven't seen him, and he can speak English, so I'm expecting to hear from him.
And like directs, maybe we'll get him in a director's
I gotta see his general demeanor, because like a lot of people are ragging on him because he doesn't look as imposing as like fucking Kimishima does.
Yeah, but why do we need a guy who's menacing?
Hey man, people like that mafia shit. They were like, we got the Yakuza. We got the Yakuza in
the set glasses and everything, right?
Yeah, people fucking turn those glasses into white colored shades.
Yeah,
But I mean, like, I got to see his general demeanor, but just making statements like that shows me, because the problem is he kind of looks like a pushover. So I'm glad he's making statements like that to kind of counteract people's like visual first impression. Because he needs to make it known that there's a reason why I got this position. It ain't because I knew somebody or I got connections. It's because I can run this shit. I'm gonna let you know I can run this shit.
It's like his version of, I'm here to kick ass and take names. It's like
pretty much. It's the Japanese equivalent to Reggie's speech.
Yeah, Reggie's inauguration speech.
For me, it's like because Kimishima, when I think of him, I see like this dude in his office in the background. You never really heard of him. You don't really know what he did. And when I see this new guy, this Furukawa, I see like this dude holding a switch in his hand, running through the battlefield, screaming. You know, like he's just a gamer. The way they describe it and everything. I think it's something we needed more than what Kimishima did. I think somebody who's actually like ready to take his hands on Nintendo and to make games and do shit. And Kimishima felt like just like I'm here, you know, I'm writing down some numbers in the back, you know, keeping us alive until we get this dude that we have now.
Yeah, that was his job, though, right?
Yeah. The funny thing is that isn't Nintendo Europe's president changing?
Yeah, he's moving to the head.
Satoru Shibata.
Which is kind of a shame because from what I heard, a lot of people were pretty positive.
But he's got a promotion though.
He's getting promoted. Yeah, he's not getting.
Yeah, he's going to Japan.
I think him and Koizumi and somebody else got promoted, right?
But he's just doing directs even and shit. He was such a lovable dude. He was amazing.
They're just taking him out of the black hole that is Nintendo Europe. Outside of France,
they still get better shit than us, though. T.
I'm just saying outside because he was so good
copies of Fatal Frame and shit.
Yeah,
his job. I'm just saying outside of France.
I wouldn't mind if Reggie stepped down. No bullshit. I would not.
Europe doesn't care about Nintendo outside of France, so. That's all I'm saying.
Germany.
What you trying to say, T?
Nintendo trash, the same as Nintendo UK are the worst. Nintendo Europe are tolerable, but Nintendo UK, my God, man, they've always been horrendous, always.
Really?
So, do you expect to see Furukawa at E3? Like
probably. Yes.
He seems like a man who's gonna put his face in everybody's.
It'd be awesome if he was there for the treehouse. When they cut to the treehouse, and we'll probably see him in the video presentation. Maybe. But at the treehouse, they're gonna start with Smash, and it'd be cool if he was there.
You know what I want? I want.
You think they're gonna start with Smash?
They said they were gonna start.
Wait, but it said no. But it said. I thought it said featuring Smash. I didn't know it said
Robert, you're wrong.
Literally says starting.
Robert, you're wrong.
Start with Smash Brothers.
No, I got it. I got it. Robert, you're wrong.
Wait, you're talking about the presentation?
You're wrong, Robert.
Talking about the treehouse.
Oh, just the treehouse.
Robert, you're wrong.
You're talking about after the presentation. Okay.
Hashtag Robert is wrong.
Never mind. It went over my head.
So let's get you short.
Wow.
Damn.
They also
come on, Robert.
I apologize.
Children. They also detailed their E3. The 11th is going to start the Splatoon round 1, and then on the 12th, they changed yet again. The digital event was the spotlight. Now it's just a video presentation on the 12th, followed by the Treehouse, starting with Smash Brothers, Robert, and then. The finals of Splatoon tournament, and then the Smash Invitational later on the 12th. So it's going to be if you're in the West Coast, it's going to be a morning till evening, and for East Coast, it's going to be at lunch until evening of just all Nintendo to watch. Like I always say, the Treehouse to me gives me so much more value or entertainment for the whole day or most of the days. And instead of like a 5-minute live gameplay on a live stage presentation, and then you never see that, you just see that same clip played over and over for third parties and other companies. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Nintendo has won June 12th that day. They have it on lock. They got, like I said, all their events happening on that day. And I love, if you guys didn't watch was it yesterday or the day before, had the live Splatoon 2 where
the tournament,
they were deciding the representative of North America, and the announcers they had are just the one guy I know for sure was at last year's. And
Jordan Kent.
Yeah, like he brings their voices. Like I could see them like doing NFL games. Like they're professional. Like the quality of their announcing and they're commentating their game, their play-by-play it's so good that it makes me watch that. It made me watch that whole thing.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree. They're getting better. Definitely.
They're really good. I mean,
but we're missing one key important piece of information we got through this whole financial briefing and everything, and that is that at some point early this month we're gonna get Nintendo Online details.
We're gonna talk about that.
I know, but I want to preemptively bring it up.
Why? What are you, the host now? You want to host?
Give me the fucking mic.
You want to host?
Damn.
Give me the mic. I want the mic.
Shit was
I got
down.
tiny hands though.
But before that, well, not before that, but before we talk about that, we're gonna finish up our E3. Just new predictions and stuff in the next. I mean, it's only 6 weeks away, people. 6 fucking weeks.
Holy shit.
In 3 podcasts, we got to start with our Microsoft predictions, and then our Sony, and then our Nintendo.
Microsoft won't even be a podcast.
What about Bethesda?
Stop hating on Microsoft, man.
I'm just saying, what we gonna talk about, T?
You guys getting distracted a lot tonight.
Tell me.
So,
you gonna slap us on the hand?
I'll mute you.
Please don't.
What's your hype level for E3, especially June 12th, with Nintendo laying out their plans? Smash Brothers is going to be featured. It's going to be start the treehouse. Like, how you guys feeling? Where's your excitement level for that?
I'm hyped, but I don't want to get too hyped because knowing us, they'll finish off with Nintendo Land 2 fireworks, and we'd be like, oh god, we thought change was coming. Oh god, but I think we're gonna see some surprises. And
well, that's the other thing too. They really went out of their way to say this is 2018 titles, and they'll show 2019 titles at future events.
Because I feel like now a lot of developers who have been quiet have actually woken up and have been working hard, and we're gonna see some stuff. I mean, we're gonna see some great stuff in Nintendo, but I think, believe it or not, we're going to see more surprise third-party stuff we might not have thought of coming.
Yeah, and we'll get into predictions and stuff, when it gets closer to E3. But, T, how are you thinking
hype.
What did you think when you saw their E3 plans? I mean, it's basically similar to what they've been doing the past few years, but
yeah, I wish they would get their mindset on the video presentation.
Yeah,
name it and just be done with it. I don't know why it's such a big deal. It's like,
before we continue, also want to point out what Lil Cray said or asked if we thought they'd ever go back to a live presentation on stage. And so I guess you can answer that question when, while you're...
Well, I'll answer right now. I don't think they will, because I think if they were going to do it, they would have done it with the Switch. So what bigger event to go back on?
Yeah, and they have the new president though. Maybe next year he might want it.
Maybe.
I don't think it's necessary anymore. But Retro Death, you looking forward to the tournaments and seeing Smash for the first time on the Treehouse?
Definitely. I think when I saw the plans themselves, I was just as hyped as I always am, but what excited me more is knowing that we're getting closer and closer to the games we've been promised, like Pokemon and Metroid. That stuff has been confirmed, but we don't know yet. And I feel like we're gonna get so much of that stuff. And then adding to that, especially the Smash tournament. I like seeing the Smash tournament. Splatoon in tournament form, I don't enjoy it as much. I think last time I didn't enjoy it as much, and when we had the Nintendo World Championship, I didn't enjoy it that much. So that one, it's probably the thing I care least about. But the presentation and the Smash tournament, like, I'm super excited for that, especially knowing everything that has to come.
Yeah, and do you think they'll stick with? Well, let's wait. We'll do all that stuff in our E3 predictions.
It's not as exciting to watch, I don't think.
I actually prefer this. I think the Splatoon tournaments are really fun to watch, especially when the U.S. won last year out of nowhere. Like, no one thought they were going to win.
That was cool. I'm just saying, actually watching.
I like seeing their. I'm so enthralled by the play-by-play and their analysis. Like, it's so much more in depth and professional than I would have ever expected for a video game. Professional tournaments. So I just like listening to the meta game and hearing, how these teams, like, they save up their specials so they can use all 4 at once to really push, stuff like that. I never even thought of strategies and stuff in Splatoon that I never really knew existed. So I'm actually finding it more interesting than I thought I would. So I know Terrell loves Splatoon 2. What do you think of the tournaments? And
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm not really at a hype level, to be honest with you. And it's nothing against what we know we're getting. It's just nothing for me. It won't get bad until we get really close to it, like the week or two before. Like right now, I'm just kind of like, it's fine.
Yeah,
I'm hyped based on what we don't know. Like what we know is that Nintendo expects 20 million in this fiscal year, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't see the games that we think will get us there. That's what hypes the shit out of me. It's like they got some shit planned for the rest of this year,
and it's gonna be
crazy.
Never before because I wasn't as into Smash Brothers until the last game as everybody else. But I mean, first time I saw Smash 4, I mean, it was very early. Where's that noise coming from?
Yeah, what is that actually?
I'm laughing at Grimm's comment.
Yeah, I'm hearing like
I hear it too.
Kind of creepy little thing. I don't know.
It's horror music.
Yo, Flow too.
When I first saw Smash 4, what did they have? Mega Man and Mario and like the stage.
Battlefield.
And I wasn't a big Smash fan, so it was like, okay, it looks nice. It looks like Brawl in HD. That was kind of my first impression. That was an early build, but I'm really undecided, or I have no idea what this new Smash Bros. Is it gonna look just a lot similar to the Wii U version? Is it gonna look like it's the same exact engine, or is it gonna be? Are we gonna have major changes to art direction or art style? Like I just don't really know. So to me, like it's just, and it could be they play it safe and it looks almost identical to Smash 4, but really not knowing has got me pretty excited. So
I'm not sure it'll matter. I feel like once because the run up to Smash is the character reveals, right? I mean that's what gets you hyped the most. And I think once those tick in, even if the game does look relatively similar to Smash Bros. U, like I said, we're all convinced it's a brand new game. So there's going to be new levels, there's going to be new characters and stuff, and I feel like that'll be enough. And I don't think it's going to be one-on-one between Smash Bros. U and this new game. I don't think it will be. I'm convinced it won't be.
I'd like to be able to tell the difference between the two, other than the modes or a new character. Like if it's Mario versus Luigi on a Battlefield stage, I'd like to be able to tell which one's the new one, which one's Wii. Like I hope there's a difference, but
I'm expecting it to be a major difference. I'm seriously expecting that, and if it's not, I'd be disappointed.
I mean, it'll still be fun. It'll still be great. The character reveals are still gonna be awesome. But it's so unknown. I feel like in such a place of where I can't even guess what it's gonna look like. Like if I had to bet, I might lean more towards it looking closer to just like Wii U, because I mean it looks great on Wii U. So but there's just still a part of me that thinks like they might switch this up way more than some people are predicting. So I just think it's interesting, the fact that we know nothing other than it's a new Smash Brothers game coming to Switch. And, it's because was it the Smash 4? It was just Iwata saying, we're going to bring Smash to the Wii U and 3DS, so we knew it was coming early. And then when we saw it, it was kind of exciting. But for me, it was lessened because, like I said, I wasn't a big fan. I don't know how it was for you guys when they first showed Mega Man and Mario.
Amazing.
Mega was. I mean, I've never been a huge Mega Man fan, and I've said this before. I did a bloody video on it, which was, I think, my most thumbed down video ever. But I love Mega Man as a character. I love his history, and his reveal was just freaking awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, maybe instead of the game just being like vastly different art direction or anything, but maybe just like they'll just start with a character you didn't see, like a Cloud type of you didn't see coming third-party character or something that could make it blow people's minds. So, well, again, got about 5 weeks till we're making Nintendo predictions for E3. So, but let's get into in May here. We're going to find out some information, and maybe they'll throw a little Smash Brothers character reveal or something in there in the Nintendo Switch Online. Apparently, they are, what is it, quote, giving more information, or are they? I forget how they phrased it. Terrell, why don't you take it away?
Oh, what? The online statement?
Yeah. How did they phrase it? I'm trying to remember. There's
Oh,
just more details.
they said they'll update the site. That's what they said. They'll update the website with more information. Unfortunately, the post wasn't that in depth. It was more like they kind of talked about it in passing.
So
let me see. I'll go ahead and keep talking.
Will it be
look it up.
like in video form? Is it going to detail like, hey, you're going to have, this is how messaging is going to work? Because what they got at some point, they got to let us know. Like, they can't just release it and you pay for it. And like, can I message my friends? That's what I kind of want to know. Am I going to be able to send like a screenshot or a video specifically to, like, if it's a, say, Rocket League clip or something, and I send it to Retro Death or something, like, hey, look, this is my perspective on that goal you scored or something. Like, if I could send it just to him instead of posting it to Twitter, like stuff like that. Like, I kind of want to know. I care a little bit. Like, down on my list is like those NES games, getting the co-op or 2-player online ad. Like, I just really want to know what is coming and how it's going to work and all that. So I don't know that they're going to detail all that in May here, but I think it's kind of getting close to time to start pulling the curtain back on that stuff.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. So it's supposed to be early May, which to me says within the next 2 weeks. But the way they phrased it was, okay, here we go. More information will be presented on our website in early May. So literally, it was like a really...
God, somebody was making that out to like they were going to be detailing more.
The section on it was super small. It was like, because most of the paragraph is just explaining what their service is. Like, it's an online service that lets you get online and play your games for a paid fee, and then it's like, well, it'll be coming out in September, and then like the last sentence is like, more information will be presented on our website in May, early May.
So it's probably just going to change. What does it even say now? I wonder about that.
I looked at it before this podcast started, and then I closed it when I was looking at let's see. I'll go back to it real quick.
Are they going to be?
It's still saying the same shit.
You're going to be able to voice chat using your Switch console. You no longer have to use your phone app. You can if you want to. Something like that. That would be pretty.
How many of you still have the phone app on your phone?
I still have it.
Like I said, I don't have an issue with the app existing. I have the issue with it being the main source. That's the problem.
And they have not even spoke on that since E3. That's the last time Reggie talked about how the app is going to work because the Switch is portable and this and that, and like he was just trying to paint the picture of why it was needed.
Right now, the site has subscribers will get to download a compilation of classic titles with added online play. So they're still sticking to the group of old school games with online play. So that hasn't changed. The eShop deals, special offers for subscribers. Say what?
Do they even mention the phone app on the?
Yeah, they do. It's like the first thing you see. The Nintendo Switch Online app. It's on your smart device. You can download it on your App Store, Google Play.
Well, that's just because that's currently that is the correct thing. But it could all change. That whole website could change.
Oh yeah, that's the whole point. Like, I'm assuming they're going to overhaul the website. I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to come with a system update. I think I was thinking it would either be today or tomorrow. If not, I think it'll probably be like next Monday.
And it also needs to come with
a system update, because that's usually when they do their updates is on Mondays.
Yeah.
So my assumption, I think it's going to come with a system update, and it's going to be a coincidental kind of situation. I am also still interested in the fact that they mentioned eShop deals for the paid subscribers. Like, is that on top? Can I stack that on top of the my Nintendo shit? Is that what that's implying?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but we're sure they won't do it.
They separated it out basically by saying it that way. So.
Yeah, that's my assumption.
Do you think they're just going to update the website and not accompany that with a video on their YouTube channel and on the feed on the Switch?
Yeah, with the Bowser running around explaining and shit.
Something. I mean, I can't imagine they just update the wording on the website and not, speak on it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's going to come with a system update. I think
that'll be them announcing something.
That'll be them saying. I mean, really, what do you want? Like a legit video of them going, "Hey guys, by the way, you don't have to use your phone anymore."
Yeah, I mean, you can't just change the text on a website and hope that the news spreads and people see that. Like,
well, I think it'll just be on your Switch. I think the update will have like a news feed update. Also,
you mean an actual system update? That
I mean a update, but they're also going to add something in your news feed to let you know.
For me, it's a lot simpler. Like, people are expecting them to like lay out the entire like fucking online infrastructure. I think we're going to get a lot less than people think, and maybe just a couple of extra details. And even then, I don't think we're going to get that much extra information somehow, especially if they say they're going to just update the website. I think we're going to get no videos, no nothing, just some added text, like maybe this day it'll release, or like this and this, or how much you pay, or whatever, I don't think we're going to get that much actual details on it.
I'm only gonna slightly disagree, and the only reason why is because the last time they talked about online, I forget who said it. I'm guessing Kimishima at the time. It was like, the next time we talk, we don't have anything to talk about, because I think their last briefing, people asked about their online service and they said nothing. And then, but they did say, it's like, we don't have anything to announce at this time, but the next time we talk about our online, it'll be something people will be very happy with.
Yeah,
like, it was something that is. So I'm more inclined to believe it's going to be at least something decently substantial.
This could be the build-up, and the full detailing happens at E3 or something.
I feel like this is what they will be doing, though, because I mean, if you think about it, it's May now, and if this is coming out in September, which is only 4 months away, from a general consumer point of view, they need to refresh these people's minds now on the fact that soon your online is not going to be free.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be free at all. So they need to refresh these people. So you don't need to do that with a wealth of information. But like Terrell said, and I believe Retro said as well, we be getting more notifications, websites updated, your Switch pinging you, just saying, right, don't forget, in September, the prices are still this, it's going to be doing this, and it's going to be doing this. We might get 1 or 2 just further confirmations on the types of games and the types of deals that we will be getting, a bit more concrete on that, but I'm not expecting the full-blown, what we're all hoping, that the Switch will now give you all voice and messaging and all that shit. If that does come, that's going to be a big solo direct or event that they do to really show that off, because like you said, they're charging people, so they need to make sure that people see the value, no matter how little it is. People have to see the value.
I can't get excited about the online services, like, because I just want messaging and a few other little things. And
I don't.
What am I supposed to be like? Oh, hey guys, it's Nintendo here. Remember, in a few months, you're gonna be paying for this shit. Like, I can't get excited about that. That's nothing for me to get excited about. So, I hope they do something where it's enough where people can stop complaining about it. And
I just hope, and I really feel like you're gonna be able to, because PS4, you buy a USB wireless headset, the Sony brand, and you plug a little USB dongle into the PS4, and your game audio and voice chat just comes through like effortlessly.
That and some messaging, and
they could do that. Have messaging, and then the other benefits to those games and saving money. Like for $20 a year, like that would be fine with me. So at some point though, they definitely got to do. I'd be shocked, because it is the first time they'll be charging for online. I'd be shocked if they didn't have a direct or something similar to a direct just for the online, and maybe that would be in August or something. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe that'll happen next Monday during the podcast, and we can talk about it. Or I'm thinking maybe the following one. So, but that's gonna be it for this Juice is Loose. I almost said Juice Opinions.
Yeah.
We'll go through the final thoughts, and we'll get out of here. So we're gonna start with Terrell.
Hello, everybody. My name's Terrell. I'm the new leader of the Just This podcast. I hope you guys welcome me with open arms. This will be on the Insane Game Freak channel next week. All right, I'm stop. Good podcast.
We said that last week too, and people disagreed.
Boy, listen, I don't care what people disagree. It's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. So surprisingly, there is a good number of stuff coming out in May. A lot of it's fucking ports, but there are things to look forward to. I think DK comes out Friday, right? Mm-hmm. and then we got Battle Chasers is finally coming out, which I think it's not. I don't think it's next week. I think it's the week after. I have to double check.
Street Fighter 2,
Street Fighter Collection, Mega Man Collection. We got some stuff. Things to look forward to.
Any confirmation on the Street Fighter Collection?
What do you mean confirmation? What way?
Is the whole game on the card or not?
We haven't heard anything. We haven't heard anything to the contrary. So we know Mega Man is the one that isn't. Is it?
The box art isn't showing any fuckery. So.
Yeah, Capcom right now we're in safe zone. We should be good, but you're jinxing it. Everybody knock on wood for the love of God. I'm knocking.
I might pick that up. I might pick up the Street Fighter Collection.
That's a
great value. I would say.
Show Clark how to play Street Fighter 3 Alpha.
Wow, I will whoop anyone's ass.
Let's go.
Bring it on. I'm the best in the world.
And last few things, as the resident anime fan, I'm gonna bring this up real quick. My Hero Greatness happened Saturday. It was fucking beautiful. So fucking happy. Shit was retro,
My Hero Academia.
Come on, I'm gonna have to pull. You're turning into Robert here, so
I don't give a damn. All right. Listen, I just want to bring up it was greatness.
You can talk about the game that anime game, that fighting game. If you want to talk about anime, so.
Well, I mean that is the same one. The only anime game we got is what Naruto came out last week, and then
Senran Kagura.
Well, that doesn't come out until June, and then we got the One Piece game that comes out.
We talk about that every week, though. Come on.
Anyways, that's the game. Play to win. See you guys later. Jesus Christ.
All right, let's go to Retro Death next.
Okay, I wouldn't say great podcast. Was it a messy podcast this time for once? I think a lot of people very actively talking over each other and shit. Doesn't happen a lot, but that's what you get when you're talking about games you apparently really hate a lot and don't really care for playing and that kind of stuff. Even that, like I said last week, the last game I played yesterday is Hollow Knight. I've been playing a lot less Rocket League because the last few times I played Rocket League, I've been playing in teams of 3, but nobody's playing with me. The cars are standing still, and it makes me so angry when I'm going down 5 divisions because somebody isn't picking up the fucking controller and shit. So I needed to chill and do some other shit. So the last couple of days I've been playing Hollow Knight again, making me super excited for the Switch release of that. And I really hope it's going to do well.
Heard nothing about that Switch version of that game.
It's because they're still working on the final free DLC for Steam and everything, which is it always gets everything first. They did a recent update, and they haven't released the final DLC yet. And once that's complete, then they're going to release the Switch version. So
I guarantee the Switch version. Switch version is going to sell 10 times what the Steam version sold. So I don't know what their holdup is. But
I hope it's going to do the same for Hollow Knight. It's
I really wanted
one of the greatest games.
Been wanting to play this game this whole year. I was hoping a game like that would have come out, earlier in the year. But
it actually just became my 3rd most played game on Steam. I sunk so many hours into it already. It's such a good game.
All right, let's go Mezza T next.
I don't know about all this. We got to have a perfectly scripted Bleach podcast and shit.
Yeah, I will say, I'd rather have everybody wanting to say something and talking over each other than no one having an opinion. I'm like, hey, guys, what do you think of this?
It's crickets.
Nothing.
So that's the good part of it. But, yeah, I understand. But anyway, we didn't really make this a we call it a topic, which is fine because it just pisses me off. But apparently, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is missing from the Wii U eShop right now. They pulled it because they're embarrassed by the price of the Switch version. And it was $20 on Wii U. It might be back up. I don't know. It may just have been a thing, but I've been railing on this port forever. So it's just more bullshit
Goddamn
from this
dirty
game.
Nintendo dogs, man.
That's yeah, but you know we Nintendo fanboy. We can't criticize them. So never mind what I just said. Forget about it. Everything is beautiful.
Dude, I did that in my Juice Opinions, and you got Active Sin saying, "Oh, you guys complaining about ports is just so hilarious."
It's not about the port. It's about the cost of that port and the fact that we got a $20 version right now. And they just pull that shit. Shady as hell. That's shady.
You just bend over and take that. If you like that, that's fine with me. You know, if you like that kind of thing.
I ain't doing it, but yeah, that's it. Good podcast, folks. I'm gonna get that Labo sometime, probably this weekend. We'll see if I have time, so I can get my impressions. But yeah. Play Nintendo fools.
Robert, can you have a final thoughts without talking movies?
I don't know, but I will say, I'll just say, you know, have a good night, have a good morning, have 7 good nights, 7 good mornings until the next podcast, whatever it is. I don't really know.
Is there only 6?
I think it'd be 6 days, and
6
7
more
nights.
mornings. I don't know,
something like that.
This is the worst.
So that you can enjoy a new Juices Loose podcast, everyone's favorite on the internet. And have a good time. And also,
go check out Infinity War.
May actually has Runner 3. I'm very excited for Runner 3 because I love Runner 2.
Finally, a new indie game. First one of the year.
Yeah, and Runner 3, I'm super excited for it. I think Runner 2 is fantastic. And go see Avengers Infinity War. It's amazing. I loved it. And I love you guys.
10 out of 10. Love you, Robert. You best.
Go ahead.
Not much to say from me. I mean, did any of you see just a little off topic, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider trailer?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that movie. That's a cool looking movie, man.
Yeah. And at the same time, as I was reminded once again, about all these third-party games. Now, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I'm sure, has been in development for some time. And it's a little understandable why it hasn't come to the Switch or been announced for the Switch. But when I was looking at the trailer online in my feed, I remember there was that video that compared Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, and I was like, my God, we literally have reached a point where generations are so blurred now in terms of what they want to achieve graphically, that I do actually feel that Shadow of the Tomb Raider will come to the Switch, maybe not this year, or maybe late this year, and that could be one of the late games, third-party games announced for it. I feel like it'll come because the Switch is fully capable, because the Xbox 360 is fully capable. And I don't think Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, I don't think
Rise looked pretty good on the 360, honestly.
It looked incredible, absolutely incredible. So I think we're going to see a lot of third-party surprises, like I said, this year. And I think that will actually make up the bulk of the later half of the year, where we've had some slim pickings. It's been hard for us Wii U owners for these first few months on the Switch, because I haven't bought a brand new retail Switch game apart from Labo. I haven't bought a brand new retail Switch game since Xenoblade. That was the last one I bought.
Same here.
Downloaded a few online, a few indie games, a few Neo Geo classic arcade titles. But in terms of real meat, real nice Nando's chicken, off the bone with some extra hot sauce. I haven't had anything.
I did, but I sent that shit back. Payday 2 uses and nobody played
that damn game.
Yeah, I'm in a bit of a Switch slump at the moment, because I need some meat, and the next bit of meat is Mario Tennis, which is some chicken nuggets. But it's not the breast, it's not the succulent breast. It's gonna taste good. It's gonna taste good. I'll pop those things in my mouth, but I need some succulent.
Shit.
What if they're more than a mouthful? Then what?
I'll leave it. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Are you just being like a Nintendo hater where you're folding cardboard in the background and shit?
Yeah, it's been for a Wii U owner and Wii U fanboy, or Wii U fuckboy, some people might say. It's been a desert on the Switch for new games this year. I haven't bought a single game other than downloading SteamWorld Dig 1 was the only purchase I've made on Switch this year. And it sucks, but it was helped by Rocket League taking off for me and getting even more into Doom after the update, and still playing Odyssey, second playthrough Odyssey, still playing Splatoon. So I mean, there's games to play. It just my wallet appreciates it, but it's just definitely been a rough as far as new games, because June 22nd will potentially be the first Switch game I buy, in 2018, and you're almost half the year's done. So it's crazy. But
shout out to Nintendo Fanboy 07. He's been getting on my head about Switch and how he's disappointed with this and that, and it's droughts. And I'm like, but you ain't said none of that when the Wii U had droughts. You were quiet as a church mouse.
The difference between the droughts, this quote unquote drought, and the Wii U's big drought was there's a bunch of stuff to play that's already out. Like the Wii U's first drought,
there was actually nothing.
There's like 5 games, to hold your interest. So, and I just want to talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I think it would be awesome if it came to Switch. I'd probably still buy the PC version just because I have the other 2 on there, and I was like, I might as well complete the trilogy on Steam. But I'm excited. It's probably with Smash. It's 2 most anticipated games. I wouldn't put one over the other, honestly, without having seen it yet. Just hearing what people said, it they're not trying to change it up too much, but there are some new mechanics. And the only disappointing thing, or is a big disappointment for me, was a CGI trailer. When that, especially Rise of the Tomb Raider, the whole game of Rise of the Tomb Raider happens either you're playing the game or it's an in-engine cutscene. There's no full CG nonsense, and I don't know how much they paid for that ad or that little trailer, who they had to do it, but that had to cost some money for something that's not going to be in the game, unless this game's going to feature full CGI cutscenes and not in-engine cutscenes, which would be a change for the worse, in my opinion.
I'm a little worried because Eidos took back over, right? Because Crystal Dynamics was
the Montreal team,
and Eidos ran it into the ground. They ran Tomb Raider into the ground. So it worries me a little bit. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's a different.
They did say that Crystal Dynamics is I forget how they phrase them, as a supervised by or something. But people that have played it said, it's what the first 2 games were, plus this new environmental dangers and stuff, and you can kind of blend in with the camo. You can do more stealth, and if you want, you can still do the run and gun and it sounds cool. The jungle setting sounds like it's a really cool setting. People seem to be liking it, and but why do a CGI trailer? I don't understand that.
I think it's just them hyping it up, getting ready to close the trilogy. It's just
I mean, maybe they said maybe they thought that would be more exciting and help the sales, because Rise didn't blow up the charts, and it's like, but that doesn't work, because then you cut to the game and it just it looks good, but it's not a 1-to-1 matchup. But when you use the in-engine graphics for cutscenes, then it goes right to gameplay, and it's like I don't know. It seems like a waste of money to do full CGI. So, but the trailer did show you what's actually new elements in the game. I'm just like, why didn't you just show the game? Everybody said how amazing the game looked. Like, why not just show the fucking game? Why is the press only one? They couldn't record any footage. They couldn't capture it. Like, it has me worried. Because 5 months from now it's coming out, and you can't even show it. Or maybe Microsoft wanted it to be part of their press conference. Somebody said they have the rights to the advertising, and it's going to be like the headline for the Microsoft Xbox press conference or something. So maybe that's it. But that was just a little disappointing that I didn't actually get to see the game. But I'm super excited for it, and I mean, that's one of my favorite non-Nintendo franchises. not franchise, but the new ones. I don't really love the old ones that much, but anyway, looking forward to that. And I'm going to play some more Wolfenstein, The New Order, and see how that goes. And if I like it, then I'll pick a Wolfenstein 2 for the PS4. So anyway, this was a good podcast. I thought last week's podcast was really fun. I had a good time on it. And,
Great.
Some people just didn't like what we're saying, so whatever.
You're salty.
But anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. We had some good live viewers, so we'll see y'all next week.